It's Fertility Week on Loose Women, and we've had emotional conversations about everything from taking your fertility for granted to IVF and adoption. But we can't talk about fertility without addressing those who don't have children, whether they've chosen to or can't for whatever reason. I mean, there are lots of things said to women who don't have children. I was one for a very long time. Some of the things, and you'll read lots of this online in various groups, but it's things like, you know, you'll change your mind when you find the right man. Aren't you running out of time? Are you worried no one will look after you when you're old? Give your husband a child before he finds someone who will. I mean, these are all various things, and it's very insensitive, and I don't think sometimes people say things meaning to be insensitive. It's sometimes a bit of a conversation starter for some people. But I remember before having my little girl, I would get asked constantly, do you not want babies? And it was always with a little tone of, why don't you want them?
Yeah.
As opposed to anything else. And I always found it really odd, because I thought, does it really make any difference to anyone else's life other than mine, whether I have a baby or not?
People are obsessed with it though, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I've had it all my life. I still get it now. And
Do
Mark,
you?
yeah, Mark gets it a lot, and it really, really annoys him. I would say upset, but it doesn't upset him because he doesn't. That's why we're together, because I never wanted kids. He doesn't want kids, and he knows he doesn't, but he gets it all the time. Oh, you'll change your mind. What are you going to do when you decide you want kids? And it's just, I think it's rude and it's offensive. It's really offensive because people who say that don't know what's going on. They don't know the story behind it. There might be some medical reason why this hasn't happened. But it's absolutely a conscious decision on my part. And I've always wondered why it seems to be acceptable for people with kids to question people who don't have them. Because I don't go up to you and go, oh, my God, what did you have kids for?
Are you sure?
Well, maybe. No, but I would never question people's decision to have children. I just wouldn't. It's not for me, and I can't think of anything worse, frankly, but I seriously, I wouldn't dare say it to anyone, and everybody thinks it's quite normal to be able to question my decision.
But as you say, it was a conscious decision on your behalf.
Yeah.
And there are many, many couples, men and women, very, very badly affected by the fact that they can't, for whatever the health reason might be.
Exactly.
I've many friends who have gone through the whole IVF, and it's just been a terrible, terrible time for some of them. Really positive outcomes on some levels, but heartbreaking on others. And I've been with them when others have said, oh, it must be time for you to have babies. And they crumble, because it's like they have to explain it every single time.
Exactly.
And it's just one of those things. And as I say, I don't think people do it on purpose, but I think we need to be much more sensitive about it, because
I think my friends used to do it on purpose, though, because I used to see them with their kids, and they couldn't go on holiday, and they couldn't go out all the time, and they couldn't get drunk, and they couldn't do all these things. And I think they used to look at me, and I think they were a bit jealous of my life. And they would go, oh, you really ought to have some kids. It will change your mind, and it will change your life. It will make your life so much better. And I'd be looking at them going, eh? I think so. So I'm glad I stuck to my guns. I stuck to my guns, because I'm very happy where I am now without them. Good for you.
I'm unfortunately one of those people who had to learn the hard way of how to engage your brain before your mouth. And a few years back, I was doing a gig, I was doing a show, and we had this, there were about 6 or 7 of us that had just turned up for the first day for this new show. And we were all there sat, and believe it or not, and I say this I'm quite a shy person. I won't go in... Why does everybody laugh when I say that?
Because it's not true.
It's true. It's true. If I know you, if I get to know you, then I can relax. But at first off meeting, I won't go up and say something. But I'd made a point to myself, because I was always that person. I was like, I'm starting a new contract. I'm going to make a point, and I'm going to go and, I'm going to talk to people. And then we were in this room, and then we went round. Hi, I'm this. I'm Brenda. I'm da 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 da. And we went round, and there were these lovely. There's this couple. I found out there were a couple of trapeze artists. And they were married, and I just said to them, oh, hi, how are you, what's it? And they were like, yeah, we're married. And all I said was, so have you got any children? And before I could say children, this person says, why won't you take your mouth out of her womb? And I was a bit... it was a bit of a, but I wasn't asking in that way. I was literally just trying to make conversation, but it made me realise, and also listening to you ladies this morning, it made me realise you do have to engage your brain before you think of what you're saying. But I wasn't coming from a bad place. I was just trying
It's
to...
supposed to be harmless, like Christine said. It is harmless.
It's really hard to gauge that, though.
The thing is I don't think there's any time in our lives when we're taught about the art of conversation. You know, so sometimes, I understand what you're saying, Brenda. I get really nervous and I will ask questions and I think in my head, God, I really shouldn't have asked that. But there seems to be a sort of sheet of paper that you go down, doesn't there, with people like, how old are you? Are you married? Have you got kids? How does it go? And that's how you get, some people get through a conversation. I don't think people mean it, but you're right. When I can't speak for myself because I've been extremely lucky in being able to have children, but if you're not in that situation, I can't imagine how difficult it must be when those simple questions that are innocently asked are asked to you. So, yeah, it's really
People
hard.
with children do automatically assume that they're not, I wouldn't say superior, but they've got it right.
No,
You know what I mean?
I don't think
Yes,
so.
they do.
I don't think that.
They do. People who
How many
have
times have I
kids.
said to you,
Some
oh, you
people,
live in the life, Carol? Off on another cruise.
Well, yeah.
I was up at 3 this morning.
No, but I'm gonna, I was gonna defend you really because it is the thing that human beings do, and if human beings didn't do it, and I'm eternally grateful to you, and everybody else who's ever had children because it means I don't have to. The human race is not going to die out, is it? So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for having kids. I will never question your decision, ever. But then again, don't question mine.
You have one, and I'm very lucky to have my little girl, but then you have one, and then you get the, well, you're going to have another.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, I'm just getting my head around one.
Yeah, but that's called a production line or a football team. That's not called...
No, I don't need one of them.
Well, if you've got one gender and not the other, you get the, so I bet you're hoping it's going to be a girl now. You're going to have to try for a girl. I get that all the time.
Yeah.
But people don't mean it. I know they're just trying to be nice and make conversation, so I just go, yeah, I'll try for a girl. How the hell do you do that?
Like the conversation thing, though, it's true, isn't it? We should learn, like,
The art of conversation,
Yeah.
definitely.
I would never say to anyone, oh, if you've got kids, because I don't want to hear about them, really.
Used by Carol. We love it. If you want any more information or indeed support about anything that we've just spoken about there, it is our Fertility Week. We've got lots of helplines on our website.